For hearing item number 32. What is this?
Your Lordship, this is to do with the appointment of a GB, the Gaonpura in Yangzitong village, Your Lordship. One Ihoto Mongzar. Ihoto was the GB, but he gave up his identity as a Simi and he embraced himself as a Sanktam. Because there are many villages, my lord, in the Kifri district where two brother tribes have established a village. And in fact, share the same ancestry also, some Sanktam ancestry, some Simi ancestry. So my lord, here Ihoto was the head GB in the village.
Which village?
Yangzitong.
Yazito.
Yangzitong.
Yazito.
In fact, your lordship, in Simi, it's known as Yazdu.
Yazdu. Yazdu.
Yes.
Okay.
But then the official recognized name is Yangzitong,
Yangzitong.
your lordship.
Ah.
So my lord, here, after Ihoto gave up his identity as a Simi and embraced the Sanktam, and this GB ship is through the Simi lineage. So your lordship, since he gave up his Simi identity, he had to resign also, and he resigned about the properties and inheritance right. All those were decided, your lordship. And
By?
only,
Decided by?
your lordship, by the clan, by the village, even to the extent of joint DB's council of Sechong and Agnato. Judicial decisions are also there, your lordship.
Whether joint DB's court is a constituted, duly constituted court.
Your lordship, that is there. That issue is there, your lordship. But basically what I'm trying to impress upon your lordship is the issue was decided at the village level, at the joint council or joint DB courts level by the two tribes, your lordship. Then as per the notification of the state, now the village council has to take a decision to recommend the person to be appointed as a GB. So the Sanktams and the Simis, they came together, village council took a decision. In the decision, they all recommended the present petitioner, Hocheto, to be appointed as a GB. And my lord, what happened after that? One Akato from the village who happens to be Hocheto's relative, I think one night he blind fired. So the Sanktam side, they took it that it was Hocheto who did it. A case was instituted before the court, the criminal court at Kifri. But later on, Akato was also acquitted because no guilt could be established against him to have caused the issue as alleged by the Sanktam side. But my lord, here, taking that as an excuse that some other person fired a shot in the village, taking that as an excuse, the Sanktam GBs, they wrote a representation saying that they will not support the appointment of Hocheto. As a part of the decision where they will also appended their signature, your lordship, recommending the appointment of Hocheto as a village council decision, your lordship. They just wrote a simple letter instead of going through a judicial process. They wrote a simple letter saying that we no more endorse his GBship. And the accusations that I will show your lordship, all these accusations, I was not aware. I came to see through the government's affidavit. But my lord, all those accusations are baseless on the record itself, on the face of the record itself. Now, since it is a...
Why don't you reply to the government at least?
Yes, your lordship, I have replied. But my lord, basically, only because two brother tribes have established the same village. If not, they follow a different customary law. We follow a different customary law. In fact, for the sake of unity, we have established the same village and have shared the same village council. If not, as far as their GB's appointment is concerned, it is none of our business. The Simi side GB's appointment.
Whether there is a practice to appoint GBs from both the tribes.
Yes, your lordship. Both tribes.
Both tribes, there is a practice.
Yes, your lordship. But Ihoto, who was a Simi, But Ihoto, who was a Simi, he gave up his Simi identity.
Okay, let us forget the
Yes,
story.
yes, Your Lordship.
So how many GBs are appointed from each?
Your Lordship, from the letter itself, government secretary. Your Lordship, I will show Your Lordship the decision of the village council recommending him. There we will see the number of page 40 to 41 of my read petition, Your Lordship.
How many GBs?
Why in the type we have not written GBs? These are all GBs. Your Lordship, page 40. Setrong T GB, Serito GB, Tohovi GB, Kavuto GB. So there are 10 GBs, Your Lordship. Your Lordship is asking how many GBs
From each tribe?
from each tribe. Okay. Then Your Lordship, page 57 is the Simi. Oh, there are 6 of them. No, 5. 5 of them, Your Lordship, 5. Chocho is not a GB.
Even at present?
Yes,
Even
Your
at
Lordship.
present?
Oh no, at present there are only 9. Only 4 Simi. Yes. Because Kyoto is not yet appointed.
Hoketo.
Oh, Hokkaido, Your Lordship, my apologies. Then, no, there are 10 at the moment. Yes, 10 at the moment. With Hokkaido's appointment, there will be 11.
Was this Hoketo appointed as GB at any point of time by the government?
His appointment was under process. And when everything was done, all the formalities completed, due to some internal issues, where somebody fired a shot and they took that excuse to say that we are withdrawing our signatures appended to recommend the appointment of Hokkaido. And by that simple letter itself, the government also did not act. And that's how this matter has reached this honorable court.
Yes, Mr. MT, what is the stand of the government? Just in brief.
Lordship, here, the on the part of the petitioner, as you said, on going to the pleading of the petitioner, it can be clearly seen that this Article 226 is, I feel it is not maintainable. It as much as there should be act by the act or conduct of the state, the petitioner right should have infringed. But now I find 2 issues here in this case. Now, in case of the Yangzitong village, there are 2 tribes, 2 kids. One Kel is Santam, one is Sumi Kel. So in case of Santam, in order to replace or to appoint a Santam Kel, Sima has to keep the council.
SEMA.
Yeah, Sima has to keep the council. So also in the present case, Hokkaido Yiptu was supposed to replace that earlier Kampura. But now, as stated by the petitioner, that because of that incident took place on 24th February, so the Santam they have withdrawn. Otherwise, they have already they have already consented that Hokkaido Yiptumi has to be is going to be the replacer of that outgoing Kampura. So that part could not be completed here. It is pending in the village, and now
not in the village before the.
Now there's one part, and that is within the petitioner and within the village only. That issue is within the village. Subsequently, because the petitioner could not convince, and again by the time the government it is also meet the Sanam party just to come to a amicable settlement and to settle the issues. But the other tribe was Adaman. So here, my submission is such that whether the act of the government infringe the right of the petitioner and the initial. So there are two issues here. Subsequently, that being the situation means that okay, though that Mr. Yiptumi could not be accommodated or could not be recommended by those other claim to be as a new Kambura. So that is within the issue only, that is issues between AKL and DKL like that. Now, that being the situation.
No,
the-
but Mr.
Yes.
Mr. MT, the decision is to be taken by the government, not
Yes.
by a KLOB.
Yes.
So what stand should the government take?
Now, the thing is, now that being the situation, the petitioner has addressed to the government.
Correct.
So as per the, on receiving the representation submitted by the petitioner, the government has issued a direction to the ADC Suichong.
Okay.
So ADC Suichong, he met all those affected parties, means mostly that the Sandam group, just to come to an amicable situation, solution. But those other party, they were not in the line. So they could not consider the operation of the additional deputy commissioner Suichong. So that is the stage now.
No, my lord, the one question that remains, in my understanding, if my lord may accept, a decision is to be taken. Decision was taken, and it was forwarded to the government. Now, after thought, taking the lame excuse that somebody fired a shot, and who is not the present petitioner but other person, now going back on a decision which amounts to a judicial decision of the village council.
The government has not taken a decision.
No, the village council. This is their own decision that they have questioned. So whether that should have been considered by the government, because an additional affidavit was filed by the state, your lordship, on the copy I received on 22nd of August 2024. And the same procedure that was completed in this case, the government has stated in the affidavit that the consensus should be there. Yes, there was consensus, that decision was taken. Then, your lordship,
No, now the issue is aftermath of the firing. The aftermath of the firing. Now the issue stands
Yes,
there.
yes.
Aftermath of the firing.
Yes.
So what is the best recourse? What is it? Because actually this court also maybe this court cannot direct the government to appoint a GB. Because actually for appointment of a GB, it is for the government to decide.
yes, of course, within the domain of
That's
the
what
government.
we look from the village.
It may not be proper for this court to give any directions. Now, what is the best option?
Now, my lord, for that, if my lord may kindly peruse the government's affidavit,
Good.
page 11 here, the points raised by the Sangdams, the brother tribe of the village. All these points, none of these points on the record itself, none of these points sticks. They say that he is responsible for the firing, and the present petitioner has been branded as a criminal. Your lordship, the competent court itself has acquitted the person who had fired the shot, not towards any individual, just blank firing in the air, your lordship. Now, even that person is acquitted. That is also raised as one of the contentious issues. The government has to apply its mind, judicious mind, not on the tribal lines. If we have to go into all the unnecessary details, it's so shocking the nature in which the ADC Seichung has also handled this matter. Consultation only with the Sangtam GBs, not with. Yeah, it shows as if the government itself is trying to break apart the village. It should be a joint consultation. The records which are annexed in the government affidavit is also shocking logic.
GP from Simi tribe.
My lord.
The consensus of the Sangtam tribe is compulsory.
Your lordship, on that point, it may kindly be mentioned in the order sheet so that I can get the records from the village. Because somewhere I heard that some appointments of the Sangtam GBs were done without consulting the Simi GBs. So I need to confirm that, your lordship, if it may kindly be recorded in the order. I want to clarify that, my lord, because there are two different tribes, though different tribes or broader tribes establishing a same village. This issue may come up in the future also, and it may serve as a deterrent.
GBs are equally appointed in numbers.
Not necessarily equally, your lordship, but representation, if we go by the law itself, then it should be by way of the number of population and households. But as far as authority is concerned, when two brother tribes have shared the same domain, they should have equal voice. And the government should not take one side of the argument. The government should rather try to see that two brother tribes are existing peacefully without listening to all this unnecessary one side of the argument. Authority is concerned, when two brother tribes have shared the same domain, they should have equal voice. And the government should not take one side of the argument. The government should rather try to see that two brother tribes are existing peacefully without listening to all this unnecessary
In this matter, Your
isms
Worship,
in lordship.
why the HC Xu meet only Sanam? Because the other part is okay, they are in a positive attitude. So the other tribe was also a negative to say. So that's why they have approach.
But why our Sanctum tribe should vehemently oppose the appointment
Yes,
of
that is the issue.
this person,
And
when this person in fact is not involved in that firing incident,
yes,
and it is the other person who has been acquitted by the court.
and
So I think some flimsy
yeah.
ground is taken not to appoint this person.
yes,
That's what I
and
can.
my personal view, this nature of case has to be handled very steadily.
Correct, of course, of
Your
course.
lordship, in fact, I agree with my learned senior colleague, but the defense on how the learned ADC has acted, the record itself shows that it is as if the petitioner's side is unreasonable, decision taken only with the other tribe.
Okay, you obtain that instruction.
My lord, I request your lordship to kindly
We
reflect.
will
in
record.
lordship.
Of course,
My lord,
we will give
your
you a
lordship.
copy of the.
My lord,
but,
your
I think
lordship.
yes. Mr. Joshua Shaki, the learned counsel for the petitioner, and Mr. Im Timso, the learned additional AG for the state respondents. The present case relates to non-appointment of the petitioner as GB at Yangzitong within bracket Yangzitong close bracket village, correct?
My lord.
Mr. Joshua has submitted that in Yangzitong village, two tribes, namely Sanctum and Simi,
My lord.
are appointed as the GBs of the village. In the course of hearing on appointed query from the learned counsel for the petitioner, as to whether there is a compulsory requirement for obtaining the consent of one of the tribes to be appointed. What was that? What was that? No, please read it from the beginning. No, just on that part. Of one of the tribes for appointment as a GB of the other tribe. Mr. Joshua Shaki, the Lieutenant Counsel, submits that he may be allowed some time to obtain the necessary instructions / information on the issue raised by the court as to the compulsory requirement from one of the tribes to obtain consent for appointment of GBs to the other tribe. Okay, Mr. M2. List it. After 2 weeks, 1 week,
My lord.
after,
Okay, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Okay.
listed
My
after
lord.
2 weeks for enabling Mr. Joshua Shaki, the Lieutenant Counsel for the petitioner, to place the required instructions for proper disposal of the case. Okay.
Lordship.